Hello and welcome. It's time for the 2024 Autocar Awards. And while cars and bikes are really the stars, we always like to delve into discussions with those that drive them into your home. In this series of Autocar Dialogues, which is a series of discussion with dealer partners, we are talking about a topic that's close to your heart, the waiting game. Waiting periods for cars have been growing longer and longer, with some of them extending beyond a year as well. And who better to talk about it with us than those that have their ears right on the ground? And we have with us today Mr. Santosh Dhone from Dhone Group, Mr. Gautam Kale from Jaika Motors, Mr. Amit Garg from Shiva Autocar India, and I like that name because it's in sync with us, and Mr. Varun Sagar from Sagar Motors. So let's dive into it straight away. How do customers really react to waiting periods? Do they wait or do they move on to another brand? Let's talk about this, and I'm throwing the discussion open to all of you.
I think they're very excited to get their car. They're very excited to book the car. Then they're excited the journey, the waiting period. Yes, there are a few customers which opt out in a 10-20%, but that's okay. That's a very small percentage. But जो भी customer गाड़ी book करा रहा है, he's quite excited to get the car and to know the waiting period. Then checking again and again when my car is coming, is the waiting period is reduced or I'm getting the same time or whatever. No, they're quite excited.
So I have a different perspective to the waiting period, so-called waiting period. So yes, we did see a waiting period 2 years back, and now it is significantly reduced. However, certain models do come on waiting even now. What we've seen is that the first-time users are not so happy with the waiting periods. And customers who are going in for a segment which is say 15 lakh above or maybe 17 lakh above, they are willing to wait and they are excited for the new product. But the first-time users want the product today and they just want to drive it.
Correct.
So I think
that was going to be my next question to you, that do you think that it changes with segments?
That's very important because I am dealing with super premium and the product which is 20 lakhs above.
Yeah, you will.
Mahindra and Jaguar Land Rover.
We deal in Tata Motors, and in that waiting period is like in COVID period, customers used to wait, but these days they are not willing to wait at all. And especially company has ramped up a lot of production now, like earlier, and we are in such a growth. So we are easily comfortable catering all the segments, all the models. Few models are still on high waiting periods, but we need to manage them a lot. We need to keep them engaged by sending some exciting brochures and some accessory packs, and so we need to engage them. That is the key.
And customers, like he said, koi variants mein waiting hai. But do customers shift variants and say, okay, I'll take this instead of that? Because a lot of people want top end. Then they realize top end is a lot of waiting. So do they come down a variant, or do you feel that they just wait?
So actually I'm handling two-wheeler as well as four-wheeler also. So most of the buyers are third or fourth buyer. So as Mr. Kale said, कि जो first buyer है, वो वेटिंग पीरियड पसंद नहीं करता बिकॉज ही वांट्स कार इमीजिएटली एंड ही वांट्स कार हिज हाउस इमीजिएटली. जो थर्ड बायर फोर्थ बायर है, ही कैन वेट बिकॉज ही नोज द मॉडल, ही नोज द टेक्निकल स्पेशलिटी, ही नोज द एम्बियंट एंड एवरीथिंग. सो ही कैन वेट ओवर देयर. ऑफ कोर्स 5% पीपल आर स्टिल forcing us. We want car immediately. Many people ask, you can take premium, but we want car. So, but it's a FIFO basis, so we can't help them. But still people not avoiding waiting period means because most of the brands are ramp up their production, but not up to the marks because maybe there will be heavy demand for few models because company made the attractive models, attractive features, technical specialty. So people can wait, I think.
No, I think also to answer to your question on whether they are changing the variant. Now it all depends on customer again, because what is the need he's buying the car, what is the purpose of buying the car, and is it correlated with any function or event in his life. So that makes him change the decision of the variant. Because if it's going to be somebody's anniversary or somebody's birthday or a wedding in the family, then they would definitely go in and change the variant. Maybe not the product itself or maybe not the OEM, but yes, the variant they will. But if somebody is just buying a car for leisure, he might want to wait for a year.
Do you think this waiting period makes the product more exciting for the customer? Do you think that the customer feels that, oh, everybody wants this has to be something really great?
That's the feeling they have.
Yeah.
That's the feeling they have.
But I think
it happens.
For me, I think again it depends on segment. So do you think that,
Super
that
premium,
in super premium, yes, there is an
yes,
attraction
there
to
is
a
an
waiting
attraction to it. And in Mahindra, like all of them are saying that few models are staying on a wait list, like Scorpio Classic, Z4, Z6 or Z8 model, or the Thar is still on a very high waiting list. So there the people do shift the variant. People do shift variant accordingly. If there is some occasion in the family or the birthdays or what Mr. Kale was saying, that's correct. They do, but the percentage is very less.
Yeah,
Percentage
it
is very
happens.
less.
In our case also, they change the color also, they change the variant also, because they are super excited whenever a new product launches. So they want that model, and they have some specific occasions. They want like the delivery must be happening on that particular date, and some muhurats are also there. So like Diwali, Dhanteras was a very big occasion
You
for
all
us.
had a bumper season in Diwali, Dhanteras this time. I think all, last year I was seeing still, for the last 2 years I've been seeing dealers with, more straight. This year I'm seeing everyone smiling, which is good to see again.
No, so on the long waiting period, like you said, that it adds a kind of a niche value to it, is because when you see luxury goods, you buy any luxury goods, be it a clothing brand or be it a jewelry,
Apple iPhones.
be it Apple iPhone or jewelry or anything. So when you go for luxury brands and they say it's limited edition or limited stocks available, so that's when it excites the customers that if it's limited, I mean I'm sure it's going to be good. So I think that is again for a segment which is higher than a 20 lakh bracket, not for the smaller segments.
But you think customers, I know dealerships face a lot of problems with customers trusting this waiting period. A lot of people will call me and ask me, hai kya itna waiting hai, or are they just doing it to badao the price, So people are not trusting this waiting period. They think it's a game that's being played with them at times. So how do you manage to convince the consumers? How do you manage to keep them? Because that's a tough job.
I'll share one incident.
Okay, everyone has something, but I'll begin with you.
So I'll share one incident in Royal Enfield. So I'm a dealer for Royal Enfield also. So a newly married couple came to my showroom. So I want to book a Royal Enfield, and at that time, it's a few years back. So at that time, the waiting period was almost 13-15 months for bike. So हंसते हंसते just उसने बोल दिया चलो यार we will come with our kid to pick up the bike. We'll just book the bike and we'll come, because he wants Royal Enfield only.
Yeah.
He loved the brand. So people are still this kind of people are there.
Yeah.
कि they want particular brand, they want particular model, so they can wait.
No, I think as far as informing the customers or telling them whether there's actually waiting or not, I think here the simplest answer for any dealership would be to tell them that it's all variant specific. So not all variants are on waiting.
Correct.
So if you talk of any particular product, say product A, I don't want to name any product per se. So they have different variants. They have like 7, 8, 9 variants. Not all of them have the same waiting period. So I think that if you tell the consumers in a very correct manner and communicate to them, I think that's fair.
No, it's been 2 years now कि waiting इतनी चल रही है गाड़ियों पे, everybody knows then the market and customers also. Yeah, initially it was a problem, yes, what you were saying कि they were not believing it, yeah, कि ये सही में कह रहे हैं कि या waiting है या नहीं है. But now everybody knows that all the cars are on waiting, and there is a great demand for cars. And for the brands, for few brands like Mahindra, Land Rover and Tata, all these cars are in a great, waiting periods are there. So there is everybody knows in the market that the waiting period is there. Initially there was a problem.
Sometimes what happens, when we tell them that there is a waiting period for approx 6 months, and when we offer them before also, if we get some cancellation and we offer them, they say, no, now we have planned for 6 months only. So we have planned our financials accordingly, so we will buy accordingly only.
So basically you're saying the consumer is now used to this scenario. They are acceptable to the fact that, okay, if I buy a car, I may not get it tomorrow. I might have to wait for it. But tell me something, has this actually resolved the problem of war between you guys, which was going on for discounting?
Yes, definitely.
There was all dealers were, like stressed because mera neighbor kya kar raha hai? Like how is he selling? So has this resolved that
Yes,
problem and has it made it a lot easier for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, because of this waiting period, our discounts reduced drastically. In fact, to some extent, they were zero.
And one more benefit we are getting, if the discounts were there in the market, then the customer was buying from one dealership to another. Now the closure time from inquiry to closure is very less now, because he knows that the car is on waiting. So he doesn't waste the time on, on a buying spree on one dealer to other dealer to third dealer. So that's also a good thing which has happened to the industry.
Yeah, it's true.
So interesting times for the industry. But how do customers perceive, do you think that now models, because this whole waiting game, and we're talking about it, and it seems like the customer's really used to it. When there is a model that has no waiting period, does the customer feel that, isme kuch gadbad hai?
Nothing of that sort. Now the customer is very, very smart. He wants all the features. He wants all the features, all the interiors, and he wants the price also. So he knows what he wants to buy. If he likes that car without waiting, he will buy that car without waiting. If he likes the other car with the waiting, he will. I think that's not the that's not the real issue.
It's more of personal choice.
Yeah, it's more of a.
No, but I think the first impression of a customer is yes, that why is this car on off the shelf and why is it not on waiting? I think the first impression is for sure there, and then obviously after inquiry etc. he finds out that just because this particular model is there, it doesn't mean it's bad or.
Okay.
He'll start asking discount then. So waiting
more
period is
discount,
not there.
rather more discount.
Just give me more discount, so I'll buy this car immediately within 2 days. So what offer best offer you can give?
Because even
us?
the salesman is compelled to sell that product which is obviously in your showroom or in your stockyard.
So. And in your stockyards, and you have to get rid of it.
He just look for more discount if the product is readily available. That's it.
Yeah, the Indian customer is not an easy one, and I think these days he's very, very well informed before he comes into your showroom.
Well informed and well read.
Yeah. He pretty much knows everything off the internet and social media, that this has a waiting period, this does not have a waiting period. Does that make your job a little tougher? Like before you could kind of hedge and say no, this and that, but now everything is just, information is just out there.
So your first question, discounting war. So if we have a good coordination with co-dealer in the same city, then it will not happen actually, and it's proved in some cities also. So discounting will not hamper for sale and rest of the things. So that will be okay. But again, it's depend on how customer will play with the dealer and that general manager also, because he can play tricky with both the dealerships. So then there will be discounting war. So I guess it will be not there.
So I think on the discounting front, according to me, 10 to 15% customers go and shop at other locations, or rather inquire at other locations, at least for smaller towns where we come from. But in larger cities, I'm sure the scenario is different, and maybe 40% of customers do knock other dealerships also. Here what I feel is that if your sales team is robust enough, the only sale you can lose out is about 10 to 12% of your existing number. So that really doesn't matter, and the war doesn't start that way.
As a customer is well informed, I'm coming to your point, what you asked. Customer is, yes, very well informed. Sometimes he knows much more. He has much more information than our consultant also. In few of the cases, all the car enthusiast which comes and visit to our dealership for buying the cars. So basic hygiene of the dealership has to be very, very strong, very, very, flawless. Like the way you give the test drive, the way the test drive car is kept, the way all the features are explained again to him, though he knows all the features and everything. He's well read before the internet or, Google or all the sites, or, but so all the basic hygienes we have to work on that, the quality of manpower, really we need good manpower for these kind of customers.
I agree with him. Like in Tata Motors also, before our old DI norms at the showroom, people used to tend to ask for more discounts. And when we renovated our showrooms and we worked on the customer experience part, the discount portion reduced drastically. They wanted the experience, not the discount.
Okay. So you're saying environment makes a difference to the customer. There's a perceived value that comes with it. I think you're right, because the Indian customer has changed. I think the Indian customer has evolved a long, long way from where we are. And, this waiting game and this waiting period, while initially there was a lot of angst about it, even when we get questions today, people are willing to wait, as you've said, more in the luxury segments and less in the initial cars. But going forward, do you think that, initially it was all about the chip shortage, and that's what caused, and COVID, of course, caused the lengthy waiting periods. But with all of that slowly fading away, do you think this scenario is going to change, or do you think that there has been a norm that has been set? Because people understand that there's this perceived value, there's this perceived excitement that is coming with a waiting period. So do you think that is the way it will continue, that demand will continue to be held for a while?
I think in future, when all the manufacturers will increase their manufacturing, I think this situation will not continue. But yes, of course, like my fellow dealers are saying, few models which are newly launched and few models which are very high in demand, they will be in short supply and they will be on the waiting. So this kind of mix and match will be there.
See, also the new models which are launched typically are not on waiting because of more demand. It could be on waiting because of production plan is less, and the anticipated demand is much more than the production plan.
Like the Thar.
Like the Thar. So that could be also the reason for a demand which is high and the waiting period.
Yeah. So when you say that, do you find that overall these waiting periods have been reduced? Like generally from what scenario that we were seeing?
Overall, it will reduce.
Because all the manufacturers have, you see Mahindra also, Tata also, from which level they have, now they are simply producing, Tatas are producing touching to 50,000 cars in a month. And in COVID times, they were doing 18,000.
But you guys are selling them as fast, so they still try to catch up.
Yes,
Customer will
even the demand has increased in the market.
Around max 3 months waiting. So I think for few models, few brand, that should be there, because it will be definitely help us also and industry also.
As to the bottom line.
As to the bottom line of all this.
Well, bottom line definitely would have increased and been happier this year, because it was a bumper year for all of you. Do you see this bumper sales and excitement going forward? Do you think this trend of upward growth is going to continue?
The growth will continue, but not with the same profitability, is what I feel.
Yeah. And why do you say this? Because I know that there's a lot of trend towards EVs. Most dealerships depend on service and sales and what comes after the sales process. Do you think that's what's changing it? Because obviously EVs require less maintenance.
See, EVs, I would say yes, to some extent in metros wherein, it's only city driving, but not for smaller towns wherein there is more of highway driving. Because again, India doesn't have the infrastructure today. And somebody buying an EV will think twice or maybe 4 times before buying the EV as a first car. Because if he has to travel outside even 100 kilometers, he has to think 3 times. And there is the charging anxiety, where the battery dying.
So why the reduced profitability? What is the cause for the reduced profitability? If not that, what's
that is
the change?
Because earlier, say out of 100 models available in the Indian market, 90 were on waiting. But now out of 100, only about 10 to 15 are on waiting.
So if the waiting reduces, then the discount war,
Increases again.
increases
Still,
again.
because the pressure directly comes on the retails.
But I think
it's in our hand for better service.
I think manufacturers who are launching, promising new launches, with good feature pack and the pricing, attractive pricing and everything. I think those models again will be in short supply and will be on waiting. Mahindra is a great example for that. Every model what they launch is on a wait list for at least a year.
But it's getting tough for us as journalists to define between products. Everything is getting so closed. Everyone is offering almost everything. It has to be really hard for you to sell these products and compete with one another. So do you think that not even competition within the brand and dealerships from the same brand, but now from other brands, because everything has become so close? Do you think it's a big problem?
That's what I'm saying. The manufacturer who will produce a distinct product, like Thar. Thar has no competition. Thar has no competition. Now, when XUV 700 was launched, it was it was a great package. It is still a great package. It's on a wait list. Scorpio N, at what price, what features and what size of the car we are getting. It's again a great product. So it's on a wait list. So these kind of packages, if any manufacturers will offer, I think it will create a huge line and huge bookings and huge demand again. So it's about...
I differ. What the demand should be higher, but the supply should be also higher. We will earn only when we will execute that orders, or else it will be getting cancelled or something like that. That's where they have opened a new plant also in Gujarat. So they are increasing their capacity and taking up to 75,000. So I think so, if other brands won't manufacture more, then all their yellow forms will be coming to other manufacturers.
Also, on the waiting period, again coming back, so our booking pipeline is reducing. So which we've seen across all dealerships. And the reason for that is because the waiting time is reducing. Customers are, saying if the vehicle is off the shelf, why book it today?
Why book it today?
Let's just book it after a couple of months when we need the car. And the scenario 2 years back was very different. They were just booking the car so that, when our number comes, we'll just get it.
Yeah.
So
I think for premium, for super premium and premium, the healthy waiting period is 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months. And for like masses and product up to above 20 lakhs, I think 4 to 5 months is a good waiting period. 3 to 5 months is a good waiting period.
Well, there you have it. Waiting periods have come down. Lots of things that came up in this discussion. You consumers are willing to wait for a product. You get excited when there is a waiting period for a product. The good news for you, however, is that they think that they might have to start discounting again. So you might be getting better prices in the dealerships. But a lot of them want the manufacturers to also deliver more. And like Mr. Amit Garg said, I think manufacturer has to create a distinctive product to really make it and make a hit out there in the market. Thanks for watching.